This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lori Watson and the co-host of Foreplay.
I'm your co-host, George Fowler, former firefighter, your couples therapist who loves to talk about sex.
Woo! Let's discuss everything about the best sexual techniques to building your emotional intimacy, which is really necessary for great sex.
We bring sound, concrete tools to reframe your relationship problems and learn how to fall in love again and feel desire.
Listen to Foreplay Radio on the iHeart app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening to Marriage Therapy Radio. I'm Zach, I'm here with Laura. We have exciting news. I just found out yesterday, literally 24 hours ago, that Marriage Therapy Radio now has over 1 million downloads, which is insane. It blows my mind. And of course, we couldn't have done it without you. We really appreciate you and are glad that you're listening to us. Today, we are talking about betrayal and infidelity because of a listener question. We're also talking about Hamilton, and coincidentally, Hamilton is full of betrayal and infidelity, so it's a cool conversation. Stick around.
Hi. Thank you so much for your patience, by the way.
Yeah, well, we trade.
I was just thinking about that, how I'm so demanding of you. I'm like, okay, Zach, time to go. Let's do this right here. Come on, time to go. And then like the moment where I can't show up for podcasts, I'm kind of like, come on now, just have a little grace for me.
I do. The hard part for me is like, you'll ask me a question and I'll write you back like 1 minute later.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't respond for like 2 days.
Well, yeah. I think.
And then you're going to say something like, this is what you're going to say. Well, usually you text me at like midnight and I'm half asleep and well, that didn't happen. It was like 7:02 p.m. Can we meet some other time?
Yeah.
Yes. How about this time?
Yeah. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to claim that my son has been using my phone and has learned how to swipe, and he's,
No.
I'm going to say I've been in a camper van and out of cell service a lot. That part's true. But yeah, I actually never saw your text. Womp womp. But here's what's going on in my world.
But here's what that means. That means you asked me a question and never cared what my answer was.
But to be fair, Zach, I do send text messages and then it's crickets for a day and a half. You don't always respond back immediately. That did happen.
I think if we go down this road, I'm going to win. So you might just want to throw up the white flag.
Oh gosh. So here's what's happening in my life. I'm packing up the camper van and we are going on an 18-day odyssey.
Right on.
We're just looking to contract some corona going across state lines. That's a venture we're going after.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
We went away. Did I tell you we went away? Did we talk about this? We went to Friday Harbor.
No, you didn't talk about this. What were you doing in Friday Harbor?
Just being away.
Was this while your girls were gone? Was this your like date with your wife?
Yeah, we just went away for like 2 nights and rode mopeds and ate yummy seafood and
what's that like?
Sampled wine. What's it like?
Yeah, to just be 2 people without children on a vacation.
It was crazy. The harder part, frankly, was like we loved it. I mean, we got along great for 10 days. The harder part was as soon as the girls came home.
10 days? They were gone for 10 days?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you don't have a gaggle of children in the womb by now. That's a long time.
It takes 9 months to make to have a baby. You know?
I don't know. You're special.
Hey, the hardest part was when the girls came home. Rebecca and I immediately hated each other.
Yeah.
It was like we got into parenting competitions. I think we both were overwhelmed by the energy that came back into the house.
Yeah.
Like our house doubled in size for a while.
That's what you said. And then all of a sudden, made me giggle.
And then all of a sudden it was like small again. Mm-hmm. And we were having to watch New Girl all the time. And Abby was singing every third lyric to Hamilton, which came out the following, 2 days later. It was like, good grief. Somebody please just cut me some slack.
I love I just saw a meme recently. If you're a New Girl, if you've ever watched New Girl, and it says, I believe now, or I understand now how people didn't understand that Clark Kent and Superman were the same person. If you've ever seen Zooey Deschanel without glasses and bangs. And that made me laugh so hard. If those of you who know who we're talking about. Speaking of television shows, Zach, we're getting ready to do another Vanity Fair shoot, which is super cool. I got my hair cut, so I'm looking fresh and fly.
Yeah.
And I'll get my Botox all injected into my forehead so I have zero expressions.
Yeah. And I just might shave that day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, by the way, because I mentioned it, this is a fun trivia. Oh, and it's actually on topic today, isn't it? Because I mentioned it and because it's an interesting thought experiment. Hamilton just came out on Disney Plus, so you can watch the pro shot, which means you get to look at the original Broadway production from, through an edited creation that becomes a movie. It's really, really wonderful to look at. But here's a thought experiment, which is the central couple in the play is Alexander Hamilton and Eliza, his wife. And I like asking people this question, which is, what is Alexander's biggest betrayal of Eliza?
Yeah.
Because you and I don't need to debate it right now, but it's a central theme, Alexander betraying Eliza, but it's interesting to hear people's kind of hot take on it.
So to give a little background for those
options
who don't know the story, because I don't want to.
Well, Alexander Hamilton is this, a young and up and coming rock star politician during the Revolution. And he's really committed to creating this new country and also wants to raise his own status or profile. So, while he's building the country alongside Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and these other guys, he also gets married to Eliza, and Eliza has two sisters. And but there's a lot of his sort of mania kind of is probably the main character of the show, his just kind of hyperactivity and I really do think it's a little bit of mania, but certainly in the way it's portrayed. But Eliza is, I think, actually the main character of the play.
Interesting.
So her story is the one that you kind of create the most empathy for, and yet you still the debate about who is what's the biggest betrayal is worth thinking about, particularly because it reveals your own lens. Because there's a sexual betrayal, there's a financial betrayal, there's an emotional betrayal, there's a work betrayal. There's lots of things that Eliza endures in this relationship, and I just think it's interesting.
It's an interesting
I think it's
question.
Really interesting.
That could be for our listeners if you have watched it, or maybe that'll be a date night. Go on Disney Plus, watch, and then have the conversation of what's the biggest betrayal.
Yeah. So, be careful though. Tread lightly. Tread
lightly. So here's why this is on topic, because we had a question from a listener that came in. Our listener is doing like many listeners have done, which is going back and listening to old episodes. So this is an old episode that was talking about a break of trust. And he says he's struggling with his wife's affair. He's lost all trust. He thinks that she's semi-continuing the affair since it all came out. And I'm kind of curious what that means to semi-continue the affair, because to me, betrayal is betrayal. We'll talk a little bit about that. My wife has made me feel as if everything has happened because of me. I love her more than anything on this planet. We also have a 2-year-old daughter. She says things have stopped, but I have gone into a major detective mode, which is super common, and has found or seen reasons to believe that it's still going on. Heartbroken, sick to my stomach, don't know what the answers or what to do. Everything started and continued through social media, which she's super into and posting pictures all the time, Snapchat and all that stuff. Calls her a social media queen. I need help. What to do? I think the first thing that I find really interesting, and maybe a question for those of you, is he says she's semi-continuing the affair. And we talk about affairs as betrayals, sort of relabeling them. And what you were just talking about with Eliza is that there has been a sexual affair or a sexual betrayal, a financial betrayal, a work betrayal, emotional betrayal, anything else? Any other betrayals?
I mean, there's a kind of a parenting fail, a huge parenting fail that qualifies as a betrayal. I mean, there's lots. I mean, but again, it's the theme, right?
Yeah. So when he says she's semi-continuing the affair, what I'm wondering is really what that means. My assumption is that he says his wife is having an affair, and I'm guessing that she met this person through social media, or initially started that sort of contact through social media, kind of like that slippery slide of crossing boundaries and chatting. And then I'm going to make the assumption that it was a sexual affair, and that he says she's semi-continuing the affair, which I'm going to assume means that maybe she has cut off physical contact, but has not cut off emotional contact. I'm just filling in the blanks here.
Yeah.
But
I think my brain's been doing some weird things lately in terms of like trying to, especially with clients, trying to kind of teach, but also like meta, like do therapy, but also do teaching, like kind of meta sort of thing.
Okay.
So this is what my brain is doing right now, which is this idea that there's a semi-continuance. It needs to be understood not through the verb or not through the word affair, but through the word betrayal. Because if this was in my office, what I would say is we have to wrap our heads around this, because if we start to debate how often she texts this guy, whether or not they saw each other a month ago, a year ago, whether or not she's just talking about fantasy football, like that's all wrong. None of that is relevant.
Okay.
What's relevant is he's having an experience of not being able to trust his wife, and she's not doing the work to close that gap. And so that's the part that is like really challenging. Yeah. Because I always say, and she's making it seem like everything's about me. Well, affairs don't happen in a vacuum. That's just true.
Right.
But what does happen is there's a breach where person A is able then to say to person B, I don't trust you.
Right.
And the work for the couple is for person B to become more trustworthy, but it's also for person A to build their capacity for trust, which takes risk. And going into detective mode isn't going to help that, I don't think.
Well, I mean, here's what I think. I think it's super natural and normal that he goes into detective mode, because he's been played a fool, which is sort of what a lot of people have said when they have been betrayed, is that. And this was fascinating. I'm actually re-listening. I'm listening because I find that I read Shirley Glass's book multiple times, mostly on vacation, poolside, and the book is called Not Just Friends. But I find that I take information in differently. So now I'm listening to Shirley Glass's book and I'm hearing information in a different way. And one thing that she said is most people don't find out about the affair. Affairs happen in most relationships, and they go under the radar. And so most people are completely unaware that something's going on. And when they find out, and then the person says, maybe his wife says, I've cut everything off, and the relationship was through social media. Of course, he's going to go into detective mode because he doesn't want to be played a fool. So I understand why he's doing that. And he has found reasons to believe that it may still be going on. So that's just reinforcing that he can't trust her. It's reinforcing that he has to do the detective work.
So so what alternative do I provide, or what alternative is there for him? I think the building your capacity for trust alternative is, hey babe, like this thing has really rocked my world, and it's forced me to begin to snoop around and go into places that affirm your lack of trustworthiness.
Yeah.
And again, I can rattle this stuff off because I do this for a living, but, and I don't know that this is how I would actually say it in real life to my wife if it was us, but it's like, I need you to know that I'm vigilant about paying attention to this story, and that my goal is to build my capacity for trust, but I need your help.
Right.
Is the opposite of like going into detective mode where I don't need your help. And in fact, screw you. I'm going to decipher your passwords and I'm going to find out some stuff that you don't even get, because I'm loaded for bear now.
Okay. So I get it. There's I'm not saying that his detectiveness is right. I'm saying I understand why he's doing it.
Of course.
The alternative is then to go to your wife and say, I want to build my capacity for trust. Let's do this together.
I need your help.
I need your help. So here's what I would love. I would love for us to just sit down, and I would love for us to go through. I want you to show me your social media rather than me going snooping. That's what I would say. I need your help. You don't agree?
I don't know. I mean, I think, again, it's going to kind of come down to the personalities that are in, at the table. I mean, take me through your social media. That's like asking somebody to take you through Disneyland and they just show you all their favorite rides. It's like, oh, see, there's nothing here, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. It's more like, can you give me like 30 days of like reprieve? Could you just shut down social media for like 30 days so that we can kind of reset our feet and find our balance again? I'm not asking you to delete your profiles. I'm not asking you to, I'm just saying for like just about a month while we're trying to navigate these waters.
Yeah.
Can you give me some relief from the mental gymnastics that I do every time your phone buzzes?
Right.
Every time it goes ding. And I wonder if it's the guy, maybe we can take that part out of the equation.
Yeah.
Which would be really cool.
I mean, that would be really great. That's if the person is really wanting to do that. I find that there are often couples where, they're on the fence. Like if this couple was coming to me in the office and they're saying, yes, we are post-affair, I have given up my relationship with this person. And then he says, but I've been snooping and I see that you're still continuing contact. And it's sort of
We're back to square one.
Where do you go from there? If you continue to break, the hard part is I think that there needs to be really clear boundaries where he says, look, like I'm not in this. Like, I'm not in this if you're going to continue to have this relationship with someone and you say, I'm going to cut it off. And then you don't. How long does that person wait around for and say, it's me or this other person? Because he says, I love her more than anything on this planet is what this person said.
Yeah. And I think again, it comes down to the couple because at some level, I don't know if you've had this, I sure have, where couples are in my office doing therapy. The partner who's involved with someone else is still involved.
Right.
That is known.
Yep.
And the harmed partner is still waiting.
Yeah.
Is waiting. Now, some people would say that therapy is not effective. Couples therapy is not effective in that setting.
Right.
And that may be true, but it's at that level, you're still talking about discernment. Like what's the, what is it that I'm working on or that we're working on together that, I don't know. I always find that really interesting. And I just say always to the involved partner, I was like, we can do this. You can still sort this out. I mean, she's still waiting. For you, but we can't do the relationship while you're still dating this other person.
Yeah.
Right. It's just not going to work. But I mean, I think, what that comes down to, or what that signals anyway, is that people have different capacities for tolerating betrayal. Right. Eliza had a lot.
Yeah.
And she did it because she loved this guy, and she also delivered consequences upon him and their relationship. But I think, it's kind of a cop out to say everyone is a unique case, but in every single case, person B needs to build their capacity for trust, and person B needs to be more trustworthy, and person A needs to build their capacity for trust.
Yeah.
And they can only do that together.
Oh, it is just a sticky thing. Listening to this book that I'm reading talking about, there's really two of, I know. Why do you laugh at me?
Because I always go back to this joke, a Mindy Kaling joke from The Office, I think it was, where she says, I read it in a book I listened to one time. Or, I heard it in a book I read one time, or something like that. And the joke itself is pristine, but it just makes me chuckle every time you say it. Because
I know.
I've actually started to do audiobooks because I've been walking a lot more. So I just put on an audiobook and I go walking.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm loving it.
I've had a really hard time, and now I'm going to get off topic here, but I have had a really hard time reading. And I kind of find, like, sometimes I go through these waves, and I wouldn't call it like a mania or whatever, but I consume everything I possibly can. And I'm like, on to the next book. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm doing all my personal growth. And I have not been working out. I haven't been running. I haven't been listening to podcasts. I think it's the Hollis divorce. The Hollis divorce has got me down.
I don't know anything about that.
That was my joke. Well, that's okay. But Kanye West is running for president.
No, he's not.
We're going to have Kim Kardashian as our first lady.
I mean, it's not.
Yep. Yeah. We don't need to go down that road.
We have intentionally avoided all political conversation for 2.5 years, and I don't feel any reason to begin again.
Yeah. Yeah, we are good. Well, are any pieces of advice for this listener? I would say, well,
A, I mean, I feel
go
for
at
you.
it together.
Yeah, and the B is somehow you have to raise the level of conversation. Right now, it sounds like there's a lot of it happening in isolation, including emailing us. Be really cool if it'd be really different, perhaps, if his wife was copied on that email and they were trying to navigate this together, I don't know anything about her, but okay. Let me put it this way. I happen to believe that often things are stronger after they're broken than they were before they were broken.
Yes, I agree.
So in this case, the only way that's going to become stronger is if they do it together. And the longer they stay in their silos, including detective mode, the longer they're gonna delay the opportunity to become stronger together.
Yeah. So I mean, like to be really direct with the responses. Number one, go about it together. Like what you had said about going into detective mode instead of being detective. Have a conversation about. Maybe you're done with social media, or there are some people who will combine accounts. I always wonder when I see someone who has like John and Jane social media account, like, ooh, what happened there? Did you guys really have tough times? And somebody demanded to be a part of that. Go about that together. I think that you have a 2-year-old daughter, and this is not something that I think you should navigate by yourself. There's 2 struggles, going back to what I was listening to, 2 major struggles that are some of the most difficult for couples therapists to work through, and that's abuse in the relationship and affairs in the relationship. And
oh my gosh, I love working with affairs. Sorry, I'm going to trump that because I love working with affairs because it's like, all right.
Slate clean.
Now we get to do something.
Yeah.
Abuse is a lot harder. The other thing I hate, you know what I hate the most?
Narcissism.
Remember? No, blended families.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the hardest.
Thanks to our buddy Beth Wiley, we just send all of our blended families to Beth. There you go, girl. You take them. If you haven't listened to that episode, Beth Wiley is fabulous with step families. That's she is a child that looks like could be her sibling. She's a stepmom. And
did you say the thing you were trying to say before I cut you off?
Is that important to you to not cut me off?
I value your voice and I want you to want to lift it up and put it forward.
You're so full of shit. We've just had so many people who have commented on the fact that you talk over me. And we just want to make it known that I talk over Zach just as much as he talks over me. He just, as a man, probably thinks his voice is more important than me.
Totally.
Yeah. We tried explaining to my son what white privilege was, and that just, that whole, I'm back into politics. Never mind. But that was an interesting conversation for a 5-year-old.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation for a 17-year-old. I mean, my daughter's been working on institutional racism for 85 years, and so she's got it all figured out.
Figured out?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So she lets me know on the regular.
Oh, gosh. I hope that this has been helpful, and probably not. This is just like me getting ready to go on vacation, and Zach squeezing me in is just quite the gentleman. Thank you.
Yeah. Have a great trip.
A great trip in my camper for 18 days with a kid and a dog.
It's going to be fun. You guys are going to have a great time.
Yeah, except for I ran over my son's bike in my truck and that's what we're going to go do, is do a whole lot of biking. So I don't know what to do with that. His wheel is like in half, just folded it right in half.
Jeez.
Yeah, make a 5-year-old cry.
Say that thing about the plane.
What about you want to land it? Let's land.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I have a joke. For you. Dad joke. Are you ready?
Lord.
Do you want to hear a joke about a Joke about a pizza?
Do I want to hear a joke about a pizza?
Yeah.
Sure.
I can't. It's too cheesy. Well, I'm going to have to. I recorded my godson saying this joke. I was out to dinner. I had some friends come and we're sitting there and he's 3 and he's like telling me a joke. And I said, whoa, let me record this because I'm going to play it on the podcast for Zach. So maybe we'll roll. It's so much better when he says this. So maybe we'll roll the footage of me recording this while sitting at an outdoor table in Bend, Oregon for dinner. It's
socially distancing.
Yeah, we were definitely 6 feet away from anybody.
All right, dude.
Landing it.
Bye.
You want to hear a joke about pizza? Yes. Sorry, it's too cheesy.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio. For some of our newer listeners, if you haven't already gone to iTunes and given us a review and your honest, positive feedback, we would love for you to do that. You actually have to hop on to iTunes and go to our podcast in order to leave us 5 stars and a review about how Zach talks over me all the time, but you still love us. Thank you so much for all of your time and attention, making your relationship better today than it was yesterday.